Hello everyone, today I want to share my Chongyun build with you guys, and as always I start with the build and then go over team compositions and at the end show some Abyss gameplay.
Animal test 6308. Unleash. Teamwork is dreamwork.
From whence you came!
As you just saw, Chongyun's elemental burst skill can deal some very serious damage, but I also put him on some of my most premium artifacts for this, and I don't usually recommend it because I strip characters like Ayaka or Zhangling, and usually Chongyun isn't the character who deals the most damage in his comps because he's more like a utility pick in my opinion. You have him for the increased attack speed or the cryo infusion of his elemental skill, or if you have Constellation 2, the cooldown reduction. So you can deal some damage, but usually you want your best artifacts on other characters. And I will put him back on my usual build, just FYI, so everything from now on will be on the build that I will present you in a moment here. Alright, here we go. Obviously, damage stats like attack percentage, crit rate, crit damage, and in his case cryo damage bonus are still desirable, but the most important thing is to get the energy recharge. Because I especially think team compositions involving Chongyun are energy starved a lot because his Constellation 2 reduces the cooldown of your characters by 15%, which means you will spam your elemental burst skills more often, and this inadvertently means that you will require more energy to do so. So I think 160% is the bare minimum. You are probably safer with closer to 180%. For talents, we basically already mentioned it. The elemental burst skill is the only thing that deals considerable damage, so this is the highest priority. After this, the elemental skill, it doesn't deal too much damage, but you'll use it quite frequently and it adds up, and you can definitely ignore the normal attacks. For constellations, unfortunately I gotta say, Chongyun doesn't really have constellations that are all that impressive to me. Like I said, the Constellation 2 reduces cooldowns, which is quite nice, and Constellation 6 is a nice chunk of extra damage on the elemental burst skill, but I feel like Constellation 1 and 4 are absolutely worthless. For weapon choices, I think the Luxurious Sea Lord, the event weapon, is quite nice for him because it increases the elemental burst damage, which again is the main source of damage for this character. Other than that, the Sacrificial Sword or the Favonius Greatsword seem nice as well, just to meet the energy recharge requirements. For artifact choices, we already covered substats earlier. For main stats, it's likely attack percentage in this slot. If you're missing a lot of energy recharge, you can go energy recharge main stat here as well. Always cryo damage bonus here, and crit rate or crit damage, whichever one balances your build better in the last slot. For set effects, the best one by far is the Emblem of Severed Fate set, but since a lot of his team compositions involve characters that can make better use of this set, you probably have to settle for a budget option like, for example, the 4-piece Noblesse set, that you can get right here. And if you have some other character like Bennett on the 4-piece set, you can settle for the 2-piece Noblesse set plus, for example, the Gladiator set. And now for team compositions, unfortunately it's getting quite restrictive because, like the cooldown reduction already suggests, you want to build something like a quickswap team, so characters that cycle through their elemental skills and elemental burst skills a lot. And unfortunately, only really Hydra supports and Pyro supports have a lot of synergy with Chongyun because Electro supports only trigger Superconduct, which doesn't make sense outside of physical teams. And one of the best ones is obviously Jingzhou. But aside from this, you also need characters that can make use of the cryo infusion on the normal attacks from Chongyun. The best one for this, in my opinion, is Zhangling, because you can just apply the cryo element with her normal attacks and then trigger melt with her elemental skill and elemental burst skill. Aside from this, also Bennett with the damage build makes sense. I already have a video on this if you're interested. And potentially also Toma, I haven't tried it yet, but he works very similar to Zhangling. And in the last slot you obviously are missing a healer. The best one is definitely Bennett because he is the most proactive one, he gets the damage buff and you want to spam this over and over again. Others aren't usually used in quickswap teams.
You want me on your team?
If you want to replace Jingzhou, you can obviously do this with an Anemo character, like for example Venti, Kazuha or Sucrose. And you obviously have them to lower the resistance to cryo and pyro in this case, and you obviously also deal some damage with swirling. And now for the showcase. It's actually really simple. All you gotta do is just place your damage buff with Bennett down and then just spam all the abilities on your team over and over again. And if you have downtime, you just normal attack with Zhangling.
Everybody stand back!
So you do
Enhanced
this,
animal module 75!
Spirit Blade! Attack! Whoa!
and it's that easy. And for now, I'm gonna leave you with some Abyss gameplay and come back at the end.
Ring cutter! Everybody stand back!
Submit for judgment! Swift and merciful!
You're toast! Booba, get them! Out of the frying pan!
Forth, my blade!
No, my sword! Let me leave you a bird.
Spirit Blade! Attack!
Teamwork is strength! Eat this!
One with my blade!
Rain outlines your fate. Know my sword! Huh? Witness the power of... Everybody stand! Nice and spicy!
Alright, we made it to the end. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this gave you some inspiration for your own builds. Stay tuned for more guides in the future. Until then, have fun and have it, and bye bye.